Hello. In this video, I want to talk about match cuts. Match cuts are one of the most useful, interesting, and I actually think kind of magical devices that we can use in animation, motion design, and filmmaking. There's video that I'll talk about in class that's a better explanation of like what a match cut is in a broader sense with some, examples in film. But I want to talk about just kind of the mechanics of how a match cut works and how it can apply to the sort of things we will be making in this class. Okay, so I'm going to start from scratch. New composition, project, new composition, 1920 by 1080. Call this morph to show you a seamless transition, and then we'll do the same thing with a match cut. So morph v00. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is have two different elements. So we're going to do a square and a circle. I'm going to go to the rectangle tool. I'm going to double click. And what that's going to do is that's going to make a rectangle that's right in the middle of the composition, and it's exactly the size of the composition. And to make that a square, I'm going to toggle down to the rectangle path, and we'll make this 300 by 300. And name it square. Okay, and then we'll put it over here. The next thing, I'm going to need a circle. So I'm going to do the same thing. Go over here, go to the ellipse tool, double click. It's an oval, it's right in the middle, and I'm going to make this also, I'm going to make it a little bigger than 300 so that it lines up nicely with the square. So we'll do 350. Okay, and then pivot points right in the middle, and we'll put it over here. Okay, and we'll call this circle. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a morph. We're going to change the shape of the square and its position to get over to the circle. So at 1 second, I'll hit Alt-P and to insert a position keyframe. At 2 seconds, I'll move over to the position of the circle. Over there. Turn the circle off for a sec. Then in my path, I'm going to animate under Content, Rectangle, Path. We're going to animate the roundness to turn it into a circle and something like, say, 210 ought to do it. Play that. Okay, it's pretty mechanical. So I'm going to hit F9, turn those into easy eases. And then we're going to fix up these keyframes a little. I'm going to add a little influence on each of these. There we go, a little better. Okay, so now I'm going to try to achieve the same thing with a match cut. Okay, so to do that, the first thing I'm going to do is turn my circle back on. And I'm going to have it be a child. I'm going to have it linked to the position of the square. So now when the square moves, the circle moves. And then I'm going to cut at the moment of peak movement, peak velocity. And what's nice about After Effects is there's a speed graph where we can actually visualize when that happens. So right here at the peak, this is the moment where I want my cut to be. So I'm going to hit Alt forward bracket on the square, Alt back bracket on the circle. Then I'm going to hit semicolon and just move this in one. And so now, oh, and I'm also, just to show you the difference, I'm going to disable the roundness. So one little tip, if you have an animation and you want to disable it for, just to see what it would look like without it, if you alt click on it, that creates an expression, and then you can just put a value in there. And then the expression will take over, and now that animation is gone. But if I ever want to get it back, I can just hit this over here. Okay, so now there's no morph, but if I play this, there's still a seamless transition between the two things, the two shapes. And that, it's almost like a sleight of hand. That is the power of the match cut. And we'll see if we make the two shots even more different and have, a dark background here and a light background there, and even like a spin or something, they'll still be connected visually and in the viewer's mind because of this connected movement. Okay, so let's take a look at that. So I'll start by making a copy of this comp, and I'll just turn off the circle for a sec. A little bit more variation to this. If you hold down Command and Alt, we can make this path, vary it up a little. Anyway, I'm just adding a little anticipation, make it a more complex shot just to show the principle of, if we're cutting on action and matching, cutting at the peak moment, we can kind of get away with more and more difference between our shots. So even like, if I wanted to add some rotation to this, okay, and then we can add more elements to our scene. And so once again, let's look at when we should cut. Position. Let's say here. Circle comes in, maybe we add an adjustment layer. See, it'll still work. All right.